Welcome to Femi's Desserts View YouTube channel. So today we are going to be learning how to make a white velvet cake. This is another kind of cake. Yes, it's a white velvet cake, but it's actually not like a red velvet cake. It just has that name. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be saying today is it's a butter-based recipe, and it's similar to a vanilla cake but has just a few dynamics that actually make it stand out, and you cannot actually miss out those dynamics for you to make the cake. First of all, this cake uses the cake flour. I already have a post up on my channel that talks about or teaches how to make up your homemade substitute for the cake flour and some other ingredients, so you can actually look that up. We're going to be using strictly egg whites here because it's going to be aerated and it's going to be fluffy, even a lot more fluffy than it would be with the vanilla cake. And that also is the work of the cake flour. It makes it a lot more lighter in texture than it would if you're using an all-purpose flour. Aside from that, every other thing remains the same. It's also a butter-based recipe like a vanilla cake. So let me just give you a quick one on the steps now so that I could get this over with. So first of all, we're going to be using 380 grams of the cake flour already prepared. I also used the homemade substitute for mine here, so that is what I'm using here. I'm going to be using baking powder, 4 teaspoons of baking powder already mixed into the flour. We're going to be using salt, just half of a teaspoon, and the reason why that salt is there is just to give it an enhanced taste, because this is a salted margarine, but it's however really lightly salted, and I don't want it to have a bland taste. That's just the reason why I'm adding just this half of a teaspoon of the salt. And then go ahead to add margarine in 230 grams, already put it in the bowl to make it faster. The sugar is going to be 280 grams of granulated sugar, all-purpose granulated sugar as seen here. Vanilla flavor is going to be 2 teaspoons per batter like this. Then the egg will be 6 egg whites, okay, and then the milk will be 1 cup. So the steps are very simple and straightforward. You first of all turn the mixer on at this point to beat the butter till it's actually just aerated for just a few minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Afterwards, you then add up your sugar into it and then wait till it's beat till it's light and fluffy, like it's going to turn to a pale white tone or shade of color. After which you're going to be adding your vanilla flavor, in particular your vanilla flavor, and then you'll be adding the egg white a little at a time, gradually, till it's all incorporated in, and then you start adding your flour and your milk in the alternating technique. You start up with your flour, you add some milk. So you're going to be adding your flour in 3 additions, and you're going to be adding your milk in 2 additions. So you start up with the flour and end with the flour. And when you're done with that, your cake batter is ready. You're going to be pouring it into either a square pan as seen here or a round pan, as the case may be, and you pop it into the oven on the mark of the 180 degrees. And then you bake up for at least 30 minutes depending on the intensity of your oven. At least 30 minutes, or until the toothpick you insert at the center point comes out squeaky clean. So that's the mark to know that it is done. So let's just get right into it now so that it won't take too much time. So right now I will turn this on like I earlier said, just to get it a bit aerated and lightened before I add the sugar inside of it. Now this is different from my vanilla recipe, so if you watch my vanilla video, you know that this is not even a step in my vanilla recipe. So every cake has its own dynamics and its own steps to be followed through strictly. It's the sugar. what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look cuddled because you know there is no presence of any dry ingredients yet. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to now start adding the dry ingredients. This is going in 3 times, but alternating with the milk. So of course, in no particular order. This is the first batch going in. I will let that beat in, and then I'll add the first batch of milk. Repeat, put the flour the second time. Put the second and the final batch of milk before I then finish up with the flour. Last batch of flour. So I'll just leave it for about 2 minutes to get it well blended. I'll spread the sides to make sure that every flour or dry ingredient trapped down the sides can get into the batter. After this, I'll just work it in just a few strokes after turning on the mixer just to make sure it's well incorporated. And then the batter will be ready to be poured into the pan and popped into the oven. Mixing the batter, this is what it should look like. I would still try and just work it a little bit, a few strokes like I said earlier, to make sure that the bottom part is well incorporated as well. So I have to shake this off. So what I just do is just to mix it properly like this, to make sure that I don't have any part of the batter maybe sitting at the bottom part and not well mixed in. You can see I'm not like turning vigorously, I'm just folding in with firm strokes. Already I'm seeing that there are some parts not well incorporated, so that's why I'm doing this manually to avoid over mixing whilst using the electric mixer. So this is what your batter is going to look like. It's not a runny batter. Remember, it's a butter-based cake, so it's very rare for you to see butter-based cakes that will have a runny or a soupy kind of texture or consistency rather. It's supposed to have a level of firmness as seen here, but then it turns out fluffy. I mean, oftentimes, especially when the steaks are followed properly. So now I'm going to be pouring this into this pan. Then I'll go ahead to pour whatever is remaining into this sample foil dishes. So this is how it goes into my sample foil dishes as well as into the cake pan. I'm not filling this up more than this level, and that's because I want it to bake up evenly and faster without staying too long in the oven. So we're going to be popping behind camera. I'm going to be hitting this gently on the work table because it's going to make noise to get rid of any air bubbles trapped in it, to make sure that we don't have all those air pockets inside our cake when we cut through. After which I'll be popping this into the oven, mark of 180 degrees as always, and I'll be baking for a minimum of 30 minutes. This one should bake earlier than that, say 25 minutes, because of course it has a lighter texture of a baking dish and then it's smaller in quantity. So I don't expect them to have the same baking time, but if you have a good recipe, trust me, you can actually put your cake, the smaller and the larger one, and bring them out at different times, and you won't be worried about it falling at the center or not coming out nicely. So stay close, guys. When the cake is ready, I'll be back to show you what it looks like on the inside with one of these ones. to turn it over. Whoosh. So look at how it looks. It's actually very, very super fluffy. This is what the cake looks like. Look at the bottom side of this one. So let me just quickly cut this so that you can understand what the texture is like. So can you see? Super fluffy, super soft, and super airy. Same thing goes here. See. So that will be all for the class. I hope that you found this interesting to watch. I hope you're going to be trying it out. When you do, let me know in the comment box. Share your thoughts and your feedbacks and your reviews and everything. Basically, I will be here to respond to as many as I can. So till next